They say reality is solid, fixed, unchangeable. But quantum physics tells a quieter, stranger story. Reality isn't only happening to you, it's happening through you. Before we go any further, let me bring you back to one person's life. Someone like you. She felt stuck. She tried everything she knew, new routines, vision boards, long lists, pleading with herself and pleading to the stars. Nothing changed. Same relationships, same money problems, the same familiar hollow when the day ended. Every morning the same version of life greeted her, like a movie set to loop, until one night, between two thoughts, she stopped trying. She didn't push. She didn't hope in the old way. She simply watched, present, quiet, calm. And that small shift, just how she observed, slowly loosened something inside. Not her outer life at first, but the way she stood with it. She wasn't forcing a result. She was looking from a different place. That tiny change turned everything. Here's the part most people miss. Reality is not a finished film you only watch. It's a cloud of many possible moments. Which version becomes real depends on observation. This idea isn't just spiritual talk. It has a scientific echo. In the double-slit experiment, tiny particles like light or electrons acted like waves, trying many paths at once. But the moment someone looked to see which path they took, those same waves collapsed and behaved like particles. Observation changed the outcome. The act of watching folded many possibilities into one result. Hold that for a moment. The simple act of looking, especially the kind of looking your heart and body do, affects what appears. Every thought you repeat, every steady expectation, every judgment is an act of observation. When you look at your money with fear, or your body with shame, or your relationships with doubt, you're not only noticing what's already there, you're helping make that version stick. You're choosing a timeline that matches the tone of your attention. This is not blame, it's power. If attention helps form what shows up, then the quality of your attention changes what's possible. Not because the universe favors you, but because your way of seeing becomes a match to a different version that already exists as potential. The field, that wide sea of possibility, always offers options. You only receive what you're tuned to notice. Most people look through filters, old hurts, family stories, culture, the voice that learned to survive. They aren't fully observing reality. They're projecting it over and over. That's the real secret behind manifestation. You're not creating out of thin air. You are choosing which of the many possible realities you will give your attention to. Observe from love, not lack. From expansion, not fear. From presence, not assumption. When you stop reacting and start witnessing from calm authority, you use the observer effect on purpose. You begin to collapse reality consciously. Scientists and mystics have pointed to this link for decades. Your inner world doesn't simply mirror the outer. Your outer world mirrors your inner observer. Change how you watch, and you change what you attract. Look through peace, and chaos softens. Look at yourself with compassion, and old labels lose their grip. But this requires courage. Observing differently means giving up being right about your limits. It means leaving the comfortable pain you know. It means letting go of the story that life is always happening to you and stepping into the role of tending your frequency. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you steady look at, with emotional certainty. So here is your first doorway. Notice what you notice. Ask, does this observation invite the reality I want, or the one I fear? In the quantum field, the universe replies to attention. If you doubt consciousness has power, you may not yet understand the observer effect. This isn't a spiritual bumper sticker. It's one of the most surprising discoveries in physics. Particles behave differently when watched. Potential becomes form under measurement. Let's return briefly to the double slit, in plain words. Scientists fired electrons one by one at a barrier with two slits. Without a measuring device, the electrons made a wave-like pattern on the screen, as if each electron took many paths at once. But when the scientists placed a device to see which slit the electron actually passed through, that wave pattern vanished. The electrons acted like single particles again, choosing one slit over the other. Measuring them changed the result. Awareness collapsed many possibilities into a single event even. That idea shook physics, because it suggested particles don't pick their state until someone looks. Without observation, things remain potential. With observation, they become definite, and quickly, this becomes personal. You are not a passive witness. You are part of what appears. You measure life with attention, and that measurement shapes what shows up. Now step out of the lab and into your day. You wake up, check messages, think about money, replay old scenes, the tightness in your chest, the knot in your stomach. These are not only reactions to facts, they are acts of observation. Your nervous system remembers the past and scans new moments through that memory. Like the double-slit experiment, your observation collapses a version of reality. Usually it collapses the familiar one. This isn't fate, it's feedback. If you look through scarcity, scarcity answers. If you look through distrust, distrust shows up. The field isn't punishing you. It is matching the frequency of your gaze. That's why people read manifesting books, chant affirmations, or do meditations, and still see no change. The field doesn't answer clever words. It answers your baseline vibration, the tone you carry when nobody's watching. That vibration is shaped by how you habitually observe life. Here's the loop that traps most people. The more you observe the same thing, the more real it feels. The more real it feels, the more you expect it. The more you expect it, the more you select it again. Observation folds reality. Reality strengthens emotion. Emotion tightens observation. The cycle runs. How do you break it? Not by fighting, by observing differently. Instead of staring at problems with frustration, watch them with awareness. Instead of reacting, witness. Instead of repeating old frames, reframe. The real change is not in what you look at. It's in the frequency from which you look. This is where the practice begins. Ask better questions. Who is doing the observing? Am I seeing through my wounded child or through my grown, calm self? Is my attention soaked in fear or anchored in possibility? Your outer life is the trailing edge of your inner view. People and events mirror your dominant signal. Your body echoes the kind of observer you have been. When you start observing from the future you, calm, certain, free, new paths open, not because they weren't there, but because your gaze finally matches them. You're not failing at manifestation. You are faithfully choosing the version of reality that lines up with your emotional habit. Now you can change that habit. Your power multiplies. You stop reacting and start choosing. Observe from what's becoming, not from what has been. The universe answers. It doesn't judge. It resonates. So stop using the same eyes. Clean the lens. Choose to see from love, trust, and expansion. The quantum field is not personal. It is precise. When you change your attention, you change your world. There is a moment in every awakening. The moment you see that change doesn't start with more action. It starts with better observation, not trying harder, but seeing deeper. Seeing without old stories, without quick jumps to blame, without panic. How you see decides what shows up now. Your field is full of possibilities. Timelines are waiting for your gaze. But the field doesn't answer desperation. It answers coherence. It opens to emotional precision and quiet presence. So start small. Find a quiet seat. You need only your body, your breath, and your willingness to look without armor. Sit. Let your spine rest. Close your eyes. Not to hide, but to shift inward where real observation happens. Place a hand on your heart, the other on your belly. This is your emotional center. Breathe. In through the nose. Hold a moment. Out through the mouth. Let shoulders drop. Let the need to solve rest. Now bring to mind something that feels stuck. A relationship, a money worry, a decision. Don't chase it. Let it come. Notice how you look at it. Not what you do, but how you observe. Is your gaze tight, worried, impatient? Take a breath and imagine seeing it as already solved. Imagine the you on the other side, calm, relieved. Notice how that version looks at the situation, with trust, with softness. Feel the small shifts. Chest softens, shoulders relax. That tiny change matters. You are no longer observing from resistance. You are matching a different timeline. Hold that new observation. Don't force outcomes. Be the calm witness. Let the field feel your change. Creation begins here, not from pressure, but from a shift in how you look. When you're ready, breathe again, then open your eyes. Return to the world as a new observer. Make this practice your default. Pause, feel, reframe, observe from your next self, not your last one. The easiest upgrade you can give your life is a clearer gaze. Write it down. I observe with new eyes. Post it. Say it. Make it your short ritual. Even the act of writing is an observation. It signals the field. In small choices, your frequency is encoded. Most people react to life more than they create it. Their nervous system stays stuck in prediction and defense. Even when they try for something new, their baseline pulls them back. But there's a quiet doorway where real change begins. Stillness that is not passive. It's exact. When you stop reacting and start witnessing, timelines bend. When a hard talk begins and you observe instead of defend, you stay above the drama. When money worries rise and you witness without spiraling, you hold abundance as the bass note. When plans fall apart and you breathe instead of panic, the field can move you. This is not avoidance. It is mastery. It is choosing alignment over the ego's reflex. Now hold this idea. What appears like miracles are often the field rearranging to match your steadier signal. The power is not in fixing. It's in allowing. The shift is not in chasing. It is in watching from a new frequency. So when the urge to explain or control comes, pause. Breathe. Observe the feeling. Hold your gaze. Remember, stillness is not weakness. It is the birthplace of power. You've been told you're a creator, that thoughts become things. It's true, but only when you understand the observer's place. You are here to see differently, not simply to try harder. You are here to shape reality by how you look, not by frantic effort. See pain as a prompt to look closer, not proof you're stuck. See closed doors as signals your frequency needs shifting, not as rejections. When you change how you look, the world rearranges. Timelines collapse into new possibilities when you stop forcing. Manifestation moves faster when you stop pushing. The right people, ideas, and doors appear when you stop proving and start being. You become an architect the moment you choose how to see. Repeat it, and this new way of seeing becomes your baseline. The frequency your body and field learn to trust. Trust is everything. The field doesn't reward busy effort. It answers coherence. Coherence comes when your observation is anchored in quiet truth. not panic. That's how you move to the next level. Not by more struggle, but by being still enough to hear the signal. Become the observer life answers to, not the reactor life controls. The practice, the map, and the 7-step micro course. You remember the woman who simply watched and shifted. Now let's get practical. Part 1 gave you the idea and the science. Part 2 gives you the map. How to actually change your gaze, how to spot the loops, and how to create new steady habits that let the field respond to you differently. This part is full of clear steps, daily practices, ways to troubleshoot, and simple exercises you can use every day. Keep the same tone, calm, available, precise. First, the daily basics. 3 practices, 5 minutes each. 1. Morning quiet reset, 5 minutes. Right after you wake, sit up. Before the phone, before coffee, place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Take 3 slow breaths. In, count 4. Hold, count 2. Out, count 6. Say quietly, "Today I observe with new eyes." Repeat it 3 times. Feel the words in your chest. This sets the baseline vibration for the day. 2. Midday check-in. 2 to 3 minutes. Midday, pause. Close your eyes for 1 minute. Notice the quality of your gaze. Where is your attention? What tone is under it? Fear, impatience, certainty. If you find fear or tension, breathe, soften, and tilt your observation toward what you want to feel. Calm, trust, ease. Do not force outcomes. Shift your baseline. 3. Evening reframe, 5 to 7 minutes. Before sleep, write one short note, one line, about where you noticed your old gaze and where you intentionally shifted it. Example: I felt money panic, but paused and imagined the solved version. I relaxed and, with gratitude, list 2 small things that had the tone you want more of. Safety, clarity, ease. Gratitude signals the field. These 3 small actions build a new baseline. They aren't magic, but they teach your nervous system a different way to observe. Second, the 7-step micro course. Do 1 step per day for a week, then repeat. Day 1. Notice without judgment. Spend the day as an observer. When something triggers you, simply note it. There is worry. No commentary. This trains neutral observation. Day 2. Find the emotion under the thought. When you notice a pattern, money fear, relationship anxiety, ask, what emotion is behind this thought? Name it. When you can name it, you can change your relationship with it. Day 3. Reframe to presence practice. Turning any story into a present observation. Instead of, "I'm always poor," say, "I notice fear about money right now." That tiny linguistic shift changes the observation from identity to event. Day 4. See the other timeline. Spend 5 minutes imagining the same situation solved. Feel the body level differences. Softness, steadiness. Don't visualize every detail. Just hold the energy of the solved state. Day 5. Act from the new observation. Do one small action that the version of you on the other side would do. Not because you must, but because you choose. It could be making a call, sending an email, or buying a small thing you would buy if you felt abundant. Day 6. Anchor with small rituals. Create a short physical anchor. Touch your heart and say, "Center." Or rub your thumb and forefinger and say, "Calm." Use the anchor when you need to shift quickly. Day 7. Reflect and record. Write a short page about shifts you noticed. No need to judge results. Just record how the field felt different when your gaze shifted. This recording trains your nervous system to trust the new observation. Repeat this micro course weekly. After 3 cycles, you will feel the baseline change. Third, trouble spots and how to fix them. 1. I tried, and nothing changed. Problem: you may be shifting occasionally, but panicking the rest of the day. Fix: Track frequency. Use the midday check-in and evening reframe. Change happens when your observation is steady, not when it's a momentary idea. 2. I feel fake pretending I already have it. Problem. You are using willpower instead of feeling. Fix. Focus on body shifts, not visualizing outcomes. When your chest softens or your breath slows, that's alignment. Start there. 3. My past keeps pulling me back. Problem. The nervous system remembers, so it replays. Fix. Treat the past as a story your nervous system tells. When it plays, be the observer who says, I see that story. Then practice the future gaze. Small breaths, anchor, note. Repetition reprograms the body. 4. I don't have time. Problem. You think you need long meditations. Fix. 5 minutes 3 times a day beats an hour once a month. Build micro practices. The morning reset, midday check-in, evening reframe. 4th. Language and attention. What to stop saying. What to start saying. Stop. I'm stuck. Nothing changes. This proves I'm not meant for that. Start. I notice. Right now I'm observing. I'm practicing another way of seeing. I'm shifting my attention. Language reflects attention. When you change words, you change the kind of observation you offer the field. 5th. Small experiments you can run. 3 simple tests. Experiment 1. The money check. When you next check your account, notice the tone. If fear rises, pause. Put your hand on your heart and imagine the solved money scene for 30 seconds. Then check again and observe what shifts internally. The test is not the number. It's how your body responds next time. Experiment 2. The conversation. Pause. In a tense moment, hold your breath for 2 seconds, not to panic. Then exhale with soft eyes. Observe the tone in your voice before speaking. See how the other person shifts when you offer a steadier gaze. Experiment 3. The mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror for 1 minute and simply observe your face without judgment. Notice the reflex to criticize. Then soften and say, I see you. Use this to practice observing yourself with curiosity instead of attack. These small experiments teach the field a new baseline. 6th. How to measure change without needing a miracle. The field rarely delivers instant fireworks. Look for small signals, less reactivity in your voice, a clearer choice where you used to second guess, a tiny coincidence that aligns with a new idea, a phone call, a message, a small door opening. Record these wins in your evening reframe. Over weeks, they add up. 7th. What to do when fear returns. A micro sequence. 1. Notice the feeling without drama. Here is fear. 2. Place a hand on your chest. Breathe 3 slow counts. 3. Ask, which version of me observes this? Shift to that version. Calm, steady. 4. Imagine the solved scene for 30 seconds. 5. Do a tiny aligned action. Send a single message, step outside, or write 1 line. Action that matches the new observation is enough. 8th. How to use community and words to reinforce your new baseline. Share the phrase, I observe with new eyes. Put it in pinned notes, in your phone lock screen, or in a small ritual you do before meetings. When you declare it publicly, even to a friend, you're offering the field a clear signal. Words encode frequency. Use them as beacons, not crutches. 9th. Going deeper. Emotions as signals, not sentences. Every emotion is information. Fear signals where your attention has been strong. Shame points to a story that once kept you alive. These are not permanent sentences. Treat them as cues. There's a memory wiring here. When you see emotions this way, you stop fusing with them. You still feel them, but you do not have to become them. That gap, Witness, not fuse, is where the field hears a different request. 10th. Simple morning sequence, 10 minutes. 1. Sit, hands on heart and belly. 2. Breathe 5 minutes. In 4, hold 2, out 6. 3. Repeat 3 times. Today I observe with new eyes. 4. Visualize for 30 seconds. The day resolved, small wins happening. 5. Take one tiny aligned step. Drink water, write a short list, move your body. This sequence anchors your field for the day. 11th. Short scripts you can use, 60 to 90 seconds each. Script for money. Calm. I notice my fear about money. I place a hand on my chest. I breathe. I imagine the version of me who has enough. I feel how that version breathes, walks, and chooses. I match that tone. Then I take one small step toward clarity script for relationship grounding. I notice my urge to react. I breathe in. I soften my eyes. I ask, who is observing this? I answer with calm. I speak from presence, not defense. I let space hold the conversation. Use these scripts when you need them. They are short and practical. 12th. Common misunderstandings and the clarifying truth. Misunderstanding. So I just sit and everything will appear. Truth. Observation matters, but action aligned to that observation completes the loop. You don't force, but you do choose intentionally. Misunderstanding. This blames people for their life. Truth. This offers agency. It shows you how to work with attention, not how to judge yourself for past patterns. Misunderstanding. Quantum physics proves I can control everything. Truth. The field responds to coherence, not demands. You tune your baseline, not micromanage outcomes. 13th. A 30-day challenge. Simple structure. Week 1. Notice without judgment. Daily morning reset plus midday check. Week 2. Practice future gaze and small aligned actions. Add one small action. Week 3. Anchor with rituals and record shifts. Evening entries every night. Week 4. Repeat, reflect, and scale one small action into a habit. At the end of 30 days, review your notes. Notice how your baseline changed. 14th. How to hold the new observer when results are slow. Slow results are not failure. They are the field recalibrating. Trust the micro shifts. Less tension, clearer choices, more ease. These are evidence the field is listening. Keep the daily basics. The nervous system is patient if you are consistent. 15th. Final invitation. A gentle practice to close. With find a quiet place. Sit. Place hands on heart and belly. Breathe 5 steady breaths. Think of one thing that feels stuck. Name it silently. Now, imagine it resolved for only 30 seconds. Feel the small body change. Hold it. Let your eyes stay soft. Say to yourself, I observe with new eyes. Then open your eyes and take one small step toward that solved state. This is not magic fluff. It is retraining attention, the core skill of conscious living. When you practice this, you are not escaping life. You are showing up in it with a different instrument, a steadier, more precise gaze. If you want, I can. Convert each part into a ready-to-record voice script, shorter lines, and mic-friendly punctuation. Break each part into chapter-style timestamps for a video. Create social media captions and hooks pulled from each section, short and punchy. Provide micro-prompts for visuals or thumbnails if you plan to use this for video or audio content. The deep observer. You see, most people think awakening comes in a flash, a single lightning strike that splits their life into before and after. But real awakening is slower, quieter. It creeps in, like light seeping through cracks in an old wall. It happens not when you change the world outside, but when you change the way you're looking at it. And here's the paradox. The more desperately you try to change your reality, the more stubborn it becomes. Because desperation itself is an observation. It's saying, I don't have it. I'm incomplete. I'm failing. That frequency collapses a reality where lack continues. And so the loop spins. But when you drop the desperate grasp, when you stand still in calm observation, your gaze becomes clear, untainted by panic. That's when the field responds differently. That's when what you thought was impossible begins to appear as ordinary. Not because it was granted to you, but because you finally noticed it waiting. The forgotten power of stillness. Stillness has been misunderstood. Many confuse it with weakness, with passivity. But in truth, stillness is active alignment. It's like holding a tuning fork in perfect vibration while the noisy world shakes around you. Think of water in a glass. If you keep stirring it, the reflection is distorted. You can't see what's really there. But let it become still, and the reflection clears. Reality works the same way. When your attention is frantic, you see chaos. When it's still, you see clarity. And here's the secret. Life always mirrors the quality of your gaze. A frantic gaze, frantic life. A calm gaze, calm life. The external is just the echo. That's why meditation, breathwork, and mindful presence aren't just spiritual hobbies. They're acts of observation training. They clean the lens. They tune the instrument. They allow you to see without distortion. Why most people fail at manifestation. You've probably heard phrases like, thoughts become things, or you attract what you focus on. They sound inspiring, but they leave people frustrated when results don't show up. Why? Because most people focus with words, not with vibration. They say the affirmations. They visualize the dream. But deep down, their observation is laced with fear. They're looking at their bank account saying, I'm rich, I'm abundant. But their nervous system is whispering, I'm broke, I'm scared. Nothing is changing. And the field listens to that nervous system whisper, not to the surface words. Because your deepest, most consistent observation is carried in your body's signal. You can't trick the field. You can only align with it. So the real practice isn't chanting better words. It's calming the observer until the body believes the new signal. Until you can look at the empty account without panic. Until you can face the silence without assuming rejection. Until you can meet your reflection without judgment. That's the true mastery. Not pretending, not forcing, but shifting the quality of observation until your frequency holds steady. The observer and the nervous system. Your body is not separate from this. The mind may grasp quantum theories, but the nervous system carries old codes. Trauma, fear, conditioning, they all shape how you look at life. And if your nervous system is always on alert, your observation will always collapse a timeline of threat. That's why healing is so crucial. Not because you need to be fixed, but because you need to loosen the grip of old observation patterns. When you calm the nervous system, the observer inside you finally sees clearly. Imagine this: a child hiding under the bed, convinced the monster is in the room. You could tell her all day that she's safe, but until her body feels calm, her eyes will still see shadows as threats. You are that child more often than you realize. Your nervous system is still braced for monsters long gone, and until you soothe it, your observation will keep finding danger, scarcity, betrayal. So start simple. Touch your body. Breathe deeply. Remind your system that the threat is not here now. Only when the body relaxes does the observer shift. Only then can you see a different reality waiting to be chosen. Observation as a spiritual technology. Think of your gaze as a tool, sharper than any blade, subtler than any prayer. Every time you observe with fear, you cut into one reality. Every time you observe with love, you carve open another. Mystics have always hinted at this. The eye is the lamp of the body. The world is a mirror, as within, so without. Different words, same truth. Observation is creation. Science caught up in the 20th century with the double-slit experiment. But mystics already knew. When you truly look, you alter what is seen. And here's the bold truth. You're not just observing reality. You're collaborating with it. You're in a constant dance, where your gaze decides the rhythm. Breaking free from old timelines. Have you noticed how life repeats? The same types of partners, the same money ceilings, the same cycles of self-doubt. That's not random. That's your observation choosing the same film reel again and again. Think of it like this. Imagine a library filled with thousands of books. Each book is a timeline, a possible life. Most people keep reading the same book over and over, convinced it's the only one available. Why? Because their observation habit always pulls that same book from the shelf. But if you dare to pause, to change the gaze, to expect something different, you suddenly realize the library was always infinite. You just kept picking the same title. This is what awakening feels like. You notice the shelf. You realize you can choose a new story, not by forcing, but by looking differently. A simple practice. Let's make this real. Right now, think of one part of your life that feels stuck. Don't try to solve it. Just notice how you look at it. What emotion rises when you see it in your mind? Fear, shame, hopelessness. Now breathe. Place a hand on your chest. Ask yourself, how would my future self, the one who already solved this, observe it? Stay with that. Not the solution, but the gaze. Feel the difference. Notice the calm, the trust. That observation alone starts to shift timelines. It's subtle, it's quiet, but it's powerful. The courage to see differently. Here's the hardest part. Seeing differently means giving up the comfort of your old story. Even if that story was painful, it was familiar. Your mind clings to it because it feels safe to predict pain than to trust the unknown. But courage means letting go of being right about your limits. It means loosening your grip on the identity of the struggler, the unlucky one, the abandoned one. It means choosing to observe not from your wounds, but from your wholeness. And when you do, life starts mirroring back that wholeness. Not immediately, not always dramatically, but steadily, like dawn spreading across a dark horizon. The invitation. So here's my invitation to you. Start small. Don't try to reprogram your whole life in a day. Just notice one thing. How am I observing right now? Make it your mantra. I notice what I notice. That awareness alone begins to free you. Because once you see your observation habits, you can choose again. And every choice is a new timeline. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are the observer. And the observer is the quiet architect of reality. The question is not whether reality can change. The question is, can you look at it with new eyes? Comment below. I observe with new eyes. Make it your declaration, your daily practice, your quantum signature.